Okay, this is the third and final installment of the Dragon Ride mini video series. We've had the event video, we've had the pacing video, and now this is the nutrition video. And before I show you the clip that I filmed the day before, running you through exactly what I planned out to eat hour by hour over those 9 hours, I want to first say that I think my performance, I know my performance would not have been achievable without the planning and preparation first of the nutrition, but also the confidence I had going into it that I would be able to eat all of this, and potentially without the fueling I wouldn't have done it. Well, not potentially, like I said, I literally wouldn't have done it. Yesterday we actually did a community ride where we did 300 kilometers, and a chap came with us, and he'll own up to himself, he never feels as well as he could on 3, 4, 5 hour rides. Yesterday we rode for 12 hours, and that's a whole different ball game entirely, but he just made sure yesterday that he ate a bit more. And sometimes it can be just as simple as that, eating a bit more. And he got him through. Let's jump into what I had planned to eat, and then I'll just recap ever so slightly what changed. Not much did change, but I'll just round it out. So here we go. So after chatting to my good friends at Sturka, who provide me with the fuel, and Hexis, you can check out their app, Hexis Live, we've come up with a fueling strategy that should see me round the Dragon Ride 300 kilometers. So we're going to whiz through this. Got Charlie on the camera to help out here. You can turn the thing around, shot, make it easier. So this is what I'm starting with right here in this little pile. It's going to be a flask of water, well, potentially with carbs in, I haven't yet decided. We have 2 Sturka 60 mixes going in the bottles for the first 2 hours. We have 1 bar, we have 2 bars, and we have another bar which will see me through the 3rd hour, which is also, as it happens, the hour that I'll be meeting up with 2 friends who are going to be on the Black Mountain, the first real climb of the day, and they're going to hand me over 2 new bottles. So this bar will complement those 2 bottles that they're going to be giving me, but I need to carry it with me for the start. The trend is throughout the day I'm going to carry an emergency bar with me at all times, 50 grams of carbs, just in case. So after picking up the 2 bottles from my friends, we are going to blast it down to Llandovery, which is going to be the scene of the first real feed stop of the big Dragon Ride route. And although I'm not going to be stopping there, maybe I will, but I will have my own feed station set up with Charlie and a couple of others. I'm going to be grabbing another bottle which will have 90 grams of mix and 2 bars, and then a little bit of peanut butter and banana baguette, or half of one anyway. This is about 70 to 80 grams of carbohydrate. That's a approximately 2 hour loop at my pace anyway. I will hopefully use this bottle and the other bottle that I picked up about an hour earlier to get me around that loop. Moving on from there is I guess what we'd call you're over the halfway point. I'm going to be around about 5.5 hours into, hopefully, and we'll know post, this is obviously after the weekend, so we'll know if I've done it in less than 9.5 hours. But if I'm 5.5 hours in, this is going to be kind of, the next 2 stops are going to be the critical ones. So I've spoken about obviously trying to get at least 100 grams of carbs an hour in. Speaking to the guys at Hexis, and they said solids earlier in the day, if I can manage them, of course. Safe solids like a baguette, something that's a little bit stodgy almost, and then as you get further into the ride, it's going to be more of your sports nutrition, more of the stuff that you kind of just want to get it in and get it down you and just get it done. By that point you don't really care. So up until like this point, I'm trying to focus on like, you know, I'm consuming bars. I've got like a brownie here. Now this is important because like it's important more for your head, as I was told, than like more so than like sports performance nutrition. It's like what are you craving? Like what's something you look forward to at a cafe? I'm a chocolate brownie person, so for me it could be something where I'm like, I'm looking forward to that. 5.5 hours in, I'm gonna have a chocolate brownie. Maybe I won't have it, but psychologically on a day I might need it. A little can of Coke, and then another bottle with 60 grams of carbohydrates in. A little bit of paracetamol as well if the temperature is really high, and
it's going to help bring the temperature down. If you're
or control your body temperature.
Yeah,
a bit more.
if you're out in heat, it's mimicking like a fever temperature essentially. So just taking some paracetamol will help to kind of take the edge off that, especially in the UK where we're not really used to riding in temperatures like this.
Obviously we're no doctors, you know. Basically from then on, hopefully I would have had Charlie placed every hour after that until the last 2 hours where I won't need Charlie after that. You can drive off, Charles. But hopefully at this point I will have the other half of the baguette. Planning all of this is crucial because I want to be able to eat when I'm going downhill and not when I'm going uphill. I want to be able to breathe when I'm going uphill. So a lot of what I'm showing you here is like only half the story, because the other half will hopefully have come across in the video of the event day, where you can see exactly where I'm getting in the food is going to be in good relation to like where we're going downhill and where I can actually like absorb the food, as opposed to like it gets difficult later on, hence why we're going towards gels, because I'm going to be climbing. It's going to be really difficult to obviously like eat and digest, you know, half a baguette. So jelly babies, just in case I need them. We have another bar, and then we have another 60 gram mix here. So a 60 gram mix plus half a baguette, you're looking again 120 to 140 grams of carbs, and the bar is just an emergency. And then we've got some spares over here, but then for the last 2 hours we've got a caffeine gel from Sturka, and we've got a standard gel, and this is the first time I'm touching gels, and this is going to be like 7 hours in, with potentially 2 to 2.5 hours to go. Another bar, maybe just water, we haven't decided yet what's going to be in this one. And then right at the end, where Charlie leaves me with about 1.5 hours left to ride, and the last 45 minutes being downhill, so you take that into consideration as well. There is another event feed. I think it's not just a case of like using the event feeds for me, because if I'm pushing like really high intensity all day and I'm stopping, I'm at the mercy of where the feed stations are. So just so you're aware, you will often see like in the Mallorca 312 and the big Gran Fondo events and things, the riders who are setting the faster times will often have private feeds, like their own feed stops. So the last one is going to be a small can of Coke, a 90 gram mix, but in a larger bottle, because that bottle then I'll try and make it last for those last hour and a half. It also saves me when I'm seeing Charlie every hour. I'm only carrying one bottle with me as opposed to 2 full bottles. It's just a weight thing, and you know, psychologically, it's a small thing that could help. And then another bar and another gel. So that's it. That's the nutrition for the ride. Now, cut to me, maybe a couple of days post-ride, and see what I have to say about it. So, looking back at that footage, there's not an awful lot I would have changed, to be honest. About 2 weeks prior to the ride, I had a consultation with Hexis, who I'm now working with, and they make an incredible app that can really help you get an overall picture of your nutrition, plan your nutrition day to day, and around specifically carbohydrates. But then also like how I could go and plan a ride like this. So a lot of it was built around their blueprint, and Sturka as well providing the fuel. I've got a link down below if you want to check them out too. But I never once had palate fatigue today. Like I didn't have like any feeling of like, oh, I can't eat anymore, like I'm done, like literally can't eat another thing, that is a big success, I think. Like, I've struggled with it in the past, but I definitely didn't struggle with it here. In terms of, did I stick to it like bang on, I would say no. Like, I'm looking at hour 6 to 7 and I had 130 grams penciled in there with a sandwich and one mix. I didn't eat that sandwich, and I think it was because on that section there was a lot of climbs back to back. The roads were very busy and narrow with other riders, and I just didn't have like the capacity to be able to like, I've got to eat this sandwich and do this and like get over the next, like I just couldn't do it. So I think I just binned the sandwich, and really looking back, obviously I could have had like a bar instead or a couple of gels, because I was in decent shape enough there to have digested it. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't struggling with, you know, bad stomach or anything like that. And getting to the end, and I think this is the telltale sign, right? Like, I got to the end and I didn't feel like, you know, I needed to sit down or I needed to like, you know, like carry me home, like I need taking home. I didn't feel like that at all. And the next day I also didn't feel like, you know, oh, I'm starving. Just didn't have that. So I feel like the nutrition was pretty decent, and I had some questions that, you know, where does the 120 grams come from? You know, I thought, I still get comments out, people saying, you know, I thought 90 grams was all we can manage, and I think, you know, the science is coming out now, but also people are talking about their own experiences of going upwards of 100 grams and over 100 grams, some going 150 grams. And sometimes as well, you know, the bigger the cyclist as well, the more energy they're going to be using. And all of these things, it is somewhat personal. But this was a little bit of trial and error. You know, we had that consultation, we talked about it, and then I found the products to then put it together and to make the nutrition strategy work. I just wanted to show you a really cool thing from that day. So this is on the app, right? This is their like live energy on the Hexis app. And like the ride started at like 7 a.m. over here, and like there's the ride penciled in. Oh, that's actually just half of the day. And like I have a big breakfast just before, and then it just like my energy just goes down. But obviously as I'm riding and I'm feeding, then ideally you try to keep like your energy from dropping too low, of course. But like, because this is just showing like the actual deficit you'd be put into, it's very easy to see how, you know, if you didn't eat or you hardly fueled, you'd get below that baseline very, very quickly, and then you'd be in a hole, well, quite literally. So yeah, I thought the balance was good, and I couldn't have done it without the support crew as well. So just want to say thank you to those, thank you to you, and I will see you in the next video.